All right, guys, this is our first Edmodo lesson that we're going to try. As we go through here today, make sure you copy down all the words that are underlined onto your notes, so that way you have them, you don't lose them. As we go through here, press pause to start each slide, and then you can get all the information as we go through, so that way you're not missing anything, okay? Just keep up and make sure you know everything, because we will be having a quiz like I told y'all before. So the first thing we're going to look at in South America is going to be the Inca civilization. Now, prior to this, you did some research on them so you can know a little bit of information about the Incas. But we're going to just give you just a little bit more. So pre-colonization, this is before the Spanish came, the most powerful group in the region were the Incas. They controlled most of the land around the Andes. They particularly like the Andes. A lot of people that can trace their family heritage to the Incas still live there today. The capital of this area was called Machu Picchu. This is a picture of Machu Picchu. You can still travel and see it today. You can take a short journey, or you can go on the 7-day King's Road journey, where you climb up and down the top of mountains in the Andes to be able to get there, and it makes it more of a beautiful area if you go see it that way, or so the different leaders of Machu Picchu thought of. To give you a little bit of example of what the people the Incas were, think to the movie Emperor's New Groove. They were the Incas as well. Now the Incas, for them life was very simple, but they were also in control of everything, so they had everything they needed. Some of the stone structures from Machu Picchu that you see behind this gentleman, they're actually brought from the bottom of the mountain and dragged all the way up. The reason they were able to do this is because they controlled all the other groups like slaves, and they used them to build the great sites of Machu Picchu. So they were a very powerful group. Now, in 1492, the Spanish started coming into this area. They started searching in the Caribbean and Central America. Think of Christopher Columbus. But the Spanish and the Portuguese, they're like cousins, okay? They live next door to each other. If you look at a map of where Spain and Portugal are, literally they share the same peninsula. They're not very good friends. A lot of times they were fighting. And in 1494, the Pope decided to try to stop all the fighting. He instituted this thing called the Treaty of Tordesillas, which was made between the Spanish and the Portuguese. It split the New World in between the two countries. So basically, where you see that red line on this picture, it's going to split the world. All the parts to the left of it are Spain. All the parts to the right of it are Portugal. Now you can see, overall, Portugal gets very little area. And that's because over in the Asian areas, they'd already conquered a lot of that territory. And so they had a lot of territory to begin with. So Spain is going to control most of this area. So think back logically. What language does that mean they're going to speak? That's right, Spanish. And in Brazil, they're controlled by Portugal, and so that means they're probably going to speak the language of the Portuguese. Now, they also had Spanish explorers. Remember, we had the explorers come before, and they came for the 3 G's: gold, glory, and God. Same thing here. They're going to come trying to get the same pieces of information. So Spain comes in with many explorers called the conquistadores. And one of the most powerful ones was a guy named Pizarro. He was the leader that conquered the Incas. They captured the Inca emperor. They turned around and demanded ransom of rooms full of gold and rooms full of silver. Once they got all of that once they got all their wealth, then they turned around and killed the guy and had to fight their way out. Shortly after that, they brought back in reinforcements, and they were able to dismantle the Inca civilization completely. Once they control this area, we go switching from a process called conquest to a process known as colonization, where they made the people follow the Spanish culture. Okay, remember how we had in Central America, we had the similar languages, religion, and dress. The same thing's going to happen here in South America as well. So we go from from conquest to colonization. Now we're going to look a little bit at the modern history. We're going to skip about 500 years to come to more modern time. Argentina is where we're going to look at. This is a situation called the Dirty War. And the reason it's called the Dirty War is because they're not fighting a fair war. So Argentina is going to be this country that's ruled by a military junta in between the years of the 70s and the 80s. So for about 15 years, they're going to be under control of this junta. Okay? The people had all their rights taken away. You speak out against the government, you could go to jail or be executed. You do anything that's considered against the government. You protest. You can't speak out. And if you demand the government to give you safety or protection, they're all going to be taken away. And so it's very, very terrible situation. Those people that did speak out, they were, quote unquote, disappearing. What would happen is in the middle of the night, the military would come in, they would take you away, they would work you in a prison camp, or they would execute you pretty closely on the spot. It was a very bad situation. We don't really have all the information out still because they're still trying to uncover all the stuff that happened in their past. One of the groups that came out of this were called the Mothers of the Disappeared, and they're exactly what you think. They're the mothers whose children had been taken to prisons and killed. Okay, so we had a lot of people that suffered through this. There's still groups that meet trying to find out what happened to their children today, a good 30 years later. All right. But today, Argentina is a lot better. The government is now a democracy. The situation changed completely. And one of the things that you see positively changed is that the citizens take their rights more seriously, which include voting, paying taxes, and serving on juries. Things Americans don't necessarily take for granted and don't see those as privileges. The people of Argentina do see them as a privilege, okay? So once you finish with that, you need to bring it up to me, make sure we get it taken care of. If you don't finish today, you need to finish it for homework tonight. Remember, you can come in during homeroom if you need to, okay? Any questions, just come and ask. I hope you have a good day.